fitting end to a terrific basketball tournament. The Syracuse Orangemen defeat the Kansas Jayhawks by a score of 81-78 as we welcome you back to the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. With a reminder, coming up tonight on CBS after your late local news, The Late Show with David Letterman and Dave's guests, Chris Elliott and the Dixie Chicks. That's followed by Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn. It's all ahead right here on CBS, America's most watched network. And a reminder that coming up a bit later on the post-game show, our special tribute to the NCAA tournament, One Shining Moment. Our Chevrolet Most Valuable Players of the National Championship game are the two gentlemen that we earmarked at the top. You had to watch Carmelo Anthony, 20 points and 10 rebounds. Nick Collison, outstanding and valiant in defeat with 19 points and 21 rebounds. Let's go back down courtside and rejoin Jim Nance and Billy Packer. Jim.
All right, Greg. Jim, you've got your beautiful family at your side. Syracuse has always been a part of your family, so it seems. You told me yesterday that it wouldn't change you winning a championship. What do you say to that now?
I'm happy, but I'm happy for all those fans. You know, they pack the Carrier Dome. They follow us all over the country. They've been with us. I think this building maybe owed us one. We tried to miss some more free throws down the stretch, but I know Derek Coleman was jumping through the TV set, you know, thinking about that free throw, and I'm just glad we won for him. Ronnie Cycli, Sherman Douglas, all those guys. These kids had great heart. We played the best first half we could play. Oh, yeah.
And Julie?
We played the best first half we could play, and then we just hung on. You have to give Kansas an unbelievable amount of credit. We played unbelievable in the first half, and it's a tribute to Roy Williams and Kansas, how they came back and kept coming back. We played the best first half. Jerry McNamara looked like the freshman of the year to me out there, but the whole team has been there all year long. It's just a tribute to all these guys. They wouldn't give up the whole year. They didn't give up tonight against a great Kansas team. I'm really proud of them.
You know, two great coaches here tonight. Roy Williams, you know what he's feeling right now. What did you say to him at the end of the game?
I told him the same thing Bob Knight told me in 1987. You'll be back someday. He'll be back someday. He's a great coach. He did a best coaching job tonight in this game because he got his team back in it. And we just hung on for dear life at the end. We're thankful.
Jim, I don't know if you heard it yet, but Carmelo Anthony became the third freshman in the history of the Final Four to be the MOP. Pretty fair player, isn't he, despite the bad back?
Troy Weaver and I were talking at the beginning of the year, and we were talking about him being the best player in the country. We never talked about him being the best freshman in the country. We talked about him being the best player in the country. I think in this tournament he proved it.
Great job, tremendous job. I know you've done so much for Syracuse all your life. You deserve it.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it.
Congratulations to you, Jim, and your entire family. You can color the college basketball world orange because Syracuse is taking home the title.
In the aftermath of Syracuse's national championship, Queth Duaney showing the joy of a champion, while Nick Collison reflects the frustration of finishing second in the national championship game. Welcome back to the Superdome, everyone. It's now time for the presentation of the NCAA championship trophy. Here's public address announcer Gene Honda.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, to present the championship awards this evening, here is the president of the NCAA, Dr. Miles Brand, and the chairman of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee, Jim Livengood.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me first congratulate two great universities, Kansas and Syracuse, for a great season, a terrific tournament, and a great championship game. And now, the 2003 Division I Men's Basketball NCAA National Champions. Coach Jim Boeheim and the Syracuse Orangemen.
For the first time ever, the Syracuse Orangemen, national champions. We'll come back to New Orleans, Louisiana, to the Louisiana Superdome with more right after this. Is there a happier family in the nation tonight than the Boeheim family in the wake of Syracuse's 81-78 national championship victory? A reminder once again, coming up tonight on CBS after your late local news, Late Show with David Letterman, Dave's guests Chris Elliott and the Dixie Chicks. That's followed by the Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn. It's all ahead right here on CBS, America's most watched network. And still to come on the postgame show, our special tribute to the tournament, One Shining Moment. Greg Gumbel back with Clark Kellogg and Coach Tom Izzo. They will lament in Kansas for a long time. 12 of 30 free throw shooting and 4 of 20 from behind the three-point line. And yet, this Kansas team almost came all the way back, Coach.
Well, we knew it was going to be trouble for their long-range shooting. They just did not have enough weapons, as Clark said. But give them credit for the comeback. Yep. And yet, Carmelo Anthony was special.
Yeah, he really was. And we felt coming into this game, at least I did, that the best player would have enough help and enough game himself to win this for Syracuse. And Carmelo is a special combination of supreme talent as well as poise and moxie. And again, I mentioned this at the start, he's not alone. He got plenty of help, but this guy is really, really special. Tonight, Greg, it was Melo time.
And a terrific, terrific job on both sides of the floor at various times during the game. Turns out to be a three-point ball game, and he will not leave me alone all offseason unless I tell the nation.
Oh, no.
Clark Kellogg picked Syracuse to start this night.
I didn't make you do that.
That's
You're
all
a nice
right.
partner, though.
I'll tell you this, Kirk Heinrich playing in pain, obviously toward the end. Coach, we sat here and watched and wondered if he might make it back.
Well, it was the tough start that really hurt him, but give that kid credit. He hit that big three real late in the game after the sprained ankle,
Right.
and it shows you what kind of courage those two seniors really had.
Well, those two guys have had terrific careers, and coming into this year, felt like you wanted to see both teams win. You knew it couldn't happen that way, but those two seniors have really been outstanding for the game of college basketball throughout their careers.
Syracuse 81, Kansas 78. A timeout. We're back to New Orleans right after this. Welcome back to the Louisiana Superdome. At one point, Kansas trailed Syracuse by 18. Their comeback was 3 points shy. Coach Roy Williams is standing by with our Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie.
Thanks, Greg. Coach, you talked to me after halftime about how Syracuse's three-point shooting did the damage in the first half. In the second half, what made that 11-point comeback so difficult?
Well, we just couldn't get over the hump. You know, twice we had it to 3 and had a chance to tie, and one time turn it over, and they make a 3 immediately and goes back to 6. But we just never could get over the hump. You know, everybody's going to talk about the missed free throws, and we did miss a lot of free throws. And you trying to come from behind, you can't make those kind of mistakes. But still, we had some opportunities, and you got to give Syracuse credit because they were able to withstand a rally against an incredibly tough group of kids, and that's what I coached. Feel very fortunate to have coached the kind of kids that could come back in this kind of game against that kind of deficit.
Your two seniors, both in difficult situations in the second half. Kirk Heinrich, of course, re-spraining that left ankle, and Nick Collison fouling out. What did you have to say to those two kids in the locker room?
Basically, I told them I wasn't intelligent enough to tell them actually what I would like to say. Words can't describe those kind of kids and what they mean to me. Even right now in the losing locker room, I feel like I'm the luckiest coach in America because I got a chance to coach Kirk Heinrich and Nick Collison.
Very understandably, you didn't want to address this issue during the week, but many people out there with the game over want to know what your level of interest is in the North Carolina job, Coach.
Bonnie, I could give a flip about what those people want. As a journalist, you have to ask that question, and I understand that, but as a human being, that's all those people that want that answer to know right now, they're not very sensitive.
If they offer you the job, though, would you be willing to take it?
I haven't thought about that for 1 second. And the guy in your ear that told you have to ask that question, as a journalist, that's fine, but as a human being, that's not very nice because it's not very sensitive, and I got to think that in tough times that people should be more sensitive. I could give a shit about North Carolina right now. I've got 13 kids in that locker room that I love.
Coach, thank you.
All right, Bonnie and Coach Roy Williams, thank you. So, we knew at the end of this evening we would feel very badly for one coach and we would feel very happy for another. In this case, it's Jim Boeheim who's going home smiling tonight, Coach.
Well, he sure does deserve it, and yet, as it normally happens, the little things made a difference. The free throws are a small part of the game at times, and that's the reason it's a memory maker night for Syracuse.
I agree with you. You've got to make free throws when you're trying to come back, and I really think that quick big early lead for Syracuse really forced Kansas to expend a lot of energy, and when they got to a point where they were close to closing the gap, weren't quite able to get it done, and then Syracuse, as Jim Boeheim said, basically just kind of held on to get the win.
Coach done good, don't you think?
Oh, outstanding. Terrific having you here with us, Tom.
Thanks.
I want to remind you, coming up tonight on CBS after your late local news, Late Show with David Letterman, Dave's guest, Chris Elliott and the Dixie Chicks. It's followed by the Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn. CBS Sports coverage of the Masters and Tiger Woods' historic quest for a third straight win at Augusta National begins with late night highlights this Thursday and Friday at 11:35 Eastern Time. Live third round coverage gets underway on Saturday at 3:30 Eastern. Sunday's final round coverage comes your way at 2:30 Eastern. We want to, of course, add our own congratulations to the Syracuse Orangemen on winning their first ever national title. They began this season unranked, as you'd expect of a team so dependent on freshmen and sophomores, but under Jim Boeheim's patient tutelage, they matured and blossomed in springtime. We also tip our hats to Roy Williams, who still seeks that elusive title by returning a second straight Final Four. His Jayhawks proved again how talented they are. It's now time to thank the men and women who made it possible for us to bring you this year's tournament. For Clark Kellogg, for Coach Tom Izzo, and for all of us here at CBS Sports. I'm Greg Gumbel. Thank you for being with us, and we bid you good night from New Orleans with Luther Vandross and One Shining Moment.
Ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star. And all the years, no one knows just how hard you worked. But now it shows. In one shining moment, it's all on the line. In one shining moment, they're frozen in time. But time is short and the road is long. In the blinking of an eye, that moment's gone. And when it's done, win or lose, you always did your best. 'Cause inside you knew that in one shining moment you reached deep inside. One shining moment. your heart, feel the wind in your face. It's more than a contest, it's more than a race. And when it's done, win or lose, you always did your best, 'cause inside you knew in one shining moment you reached for the sky. In one shining moment you knew, yeah. In one shining moment you're willing to try. In one shining moment you knew. One shining